The Philippines is a country of stunning complexity. Over 7,000 islands, over 110 million people, and most incredibly, over 180 different languages and dialects spoken across the archipelago. It's one of the most linguistically diverse countries in the world. So how does a nation this divided by geography and language speak with one voice? The answer lies in something more than a single tongue. It lies in Filipino, the official national language. But its story isn't just about Tagalog, or translations, or textbooks. It is a living record of centuries of identity, power, colonialism, and adaptation. A language born not from uniformity, but from shared struggle. This isn't just a language lesson. It is a journey through the linguistic evolution of a nation, shaped by both diversity and unity. Before colonial contact, the islands now known as the Philippines were already home to rich linguistic traditions. Communities across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao spoke dozens of distinct languages. These included Old Tagalog, Old Cebuano, Waray, Kapampangan, Ilocano, Ibanag, and the tribal languages of the highlands. Each of these languages carried its own vocabulary, syntax, and oral tradition. In the lowlands and coastal settlements, people composed poetry, told epics, and negotiated trade deals in their own tongue. Writing systems existed as well. Baybayin is the most widely recognized today, but it was just one of several indigenous scripts. In the Visayas, it was called Badlit. In Pampanga, it evolved into Kulatan. These systems were passed down through generations, often used in ritual, love letters, property records, and oaths. Language was more than communication, it was status, memory, and identity. Long before the concept of a Filipino nation existed, there was a deeply rooted linguistic landscape. When the Spanish arrived in the 1500s, they found not a single nation but a tapestry of barangays and kingdoms, each with its own tongue. Instead of standardizing language across the colony, Spanish friars learned and preserved regional dialects to convert local populations. Sermons, catechisms, and prayers were translated into Bicolano, Cebuano, and Ilocano. Ironically, this policy helped ensure the survival of regional languages, even as Spanish culture took root. However, with over a century of colonization, Spanish never became the language of the majority. Literacy among native Filipinos remained tied to their local dialects. When the Americans took over in the early 1900s, they introduced a new strategy. English became the official language of instruction, law, and governance. Schools were built, and American literature and speech were promoted. Yet Filipinos continued speaking their native languages at home and in their communities. Despite centuries of colonization, local languages endured, adapted, and remained vital. The concept of a national language emerged during the early 20th century as the Philippines moved towards self-governance. President Manuel L. Quezon, recognizing the need for linguistic unity, called for the selection of a common national language. The debate was intense. Cebuano was the most spoken native language. Ilocano had a rich literary tradition. Others pushed for a multilingual approach. In 1937, Tagalog was chosen as the basis for the national language due to its extensive literature, vocabulary, and central location. The language was renamed Filipino in 1959, and later, Filipino in the 1987 Constitution. The goal was to form a national standard that could evolve and include words from all Philippine languages. While the decision faced criticism from non-Tagalog regions, it laid the foundation for a shared linguistic identity. The purpose was not to erase regional languages, but to create a bridge, a unifying voice in the midst of diversity. While Filipino is based on Tagalog, it is not strictly identical. Since becoming the national language, Filipino has expanded to include vocabulary and expressions from Cebuano, Ilocano, Kapampangan, Spanish, English, and Arabic, among others. New words emerge through pop culture, migration, and social media. It is a fluid, living language, not bound by purism, but shaped by collective usage. Filipino is commonly used in broadcast media, education, advertising, and urban communication. It is often interwoven with English, especially among younger speakers. Yet Filipino is not intended to replace other languages. Millions continue to use Waray, Maranao, Pangasinense, and more in daily life. Filipino serves as a functional lingua franca, a tool to bridge regions and ethnicities. Its role is to unify without demanding linguistic uniformity. Filipino stands out for its emotional richness and adaptive power. It holds words that cannot be directly translated into English, terms like gigil, kilig, bayanihan, and utang na loob. These words carry cultural depth and emotional specificity. They speak to shared values, social bonds, and experiences rooted in Filipino history. The language is also unique in its ability to evolve. Filipino has absorbed elements from countless cultures while remaining distinctly local. It is spoken across social classes, used in politics, the arts, education, and even overseas. For overseas workers and migrants, Filipino becomes a lifeline of identity. It survives not by isolation, but by engagement. It is not a museum piece, it is a mirror reflecting the life of a nation in motion. In a country this linguistically diverse, the role of Filipino is always evolving. Questions remain about its scope and limitations. Some argue that Filipino remains too centered on Tagalog, while others fear the extinction of minority dialects. Yet movements to preserve and promote local languages are gaining strength. Schools now implement mother tongue instruction. Artists and scholars revive indigenous scripts like baybayin. Regional literature and music flourish. Filipino, meanwhile, continues to act as a functional medium for national communication. It does not erase dialects, it coexists with them. Its value lies not in dominance, but in flexibility. In a multilingual republic, Filipino is one of many voices, but it remains the voice most often understood across borders and backgrounds. Its success is not based on uniformity, but on mutual respect. The Filipino language is a product of adaptation. It was shaped by centuries of encounter, indigenous cultures, colonial rule, revolution, and migration. It remains imperfect, yet enduring. In a nation of over 180 languages, Filipino emerged not to silence the others, but to offer common ground. It is used in lullabies, laws, media, and protest. It has become a bridge across distance, both geographic and emotional. Its greatest strength is its ability to reflect a nation's complexity while enabling connection. Unity does not require sameness. It requires space. Filipino remains that space. A language not of erasure, but of inclusion. A symbol that a diverse nation can still speak together, without losing what makes each voice unique.